All right, today we're diving into something truly mind-bending, a theory that suggests the Quran, one of the world's most sacred texts, might actually have a hidden mathematical code embedded within it.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Could the very structure of its chapters, its verses, be governed by a precise underlying mathematical system? It's an incredible claim, so let's take a look at the evidence behind it.
Well, according to the research we're exploring, the answer is a big yes, and it can all be boiled down to this single elegant equation they call the Quran formula. The goal here is to unify the text's numerical and symbolic design into one expression.
So what on earth does this all mean? Well, Q stands for the Quran's overall structural coherence. And that coherence, the theory goes, is built on three key pillars: 7M, which is all about repetition, 9E for enumeration or counting, and P1729, which is described as a unique pattern exemplar. Let's decode each piece, one by one.
First up, we've got the 7M component. The idea here is that the number 7 creates a kind of divine rhythm, a beat that echoes throughout the entire text.
So the theory suggests that the number 7 isn't just there. It's the cornerstone of this whole idea of repetition, or methani as it's known. It's presented as this recurring motif that pops up in very specific, very structured ways.
And you can see some really clear examples right away. The very first chapter of the Quran, Al-Fatiha, has exactly 7 verses. Then you look at chapters 71 and 72, both have 28 verses, which of course is a perfect multiple of 7. And get this, the digit 7 even shows up in their chapter numbers, tying them together.
But here's the kicker, right? It's not just about counting sevens. The crucial point is the connection to big theological concepts. The mention of 7 heavens is a perfect example, suggesting this numerical pattern is literally woven into the spiritual fabric of the Quran.
All right, next piece of the puzzle in our formula is 9E. This part revolves around the number 9 and its proposed role in counting and really a sense of completeness.
So if the number 7 is all about rhythm, the number 9 is presented as the symbol for enumeration, the act of counting things up to a final, complete total.
And this is where it gets pretty wild. Check out these deep mathematical patterns. This number, 142,857, which you get from dividing 1 by 7, multiplies out perfectly to a series of 9s. And thematically, Surah 9, called Repentance, often deals with ideas of finality and completion, which lines up perfectly with the symbolic role of the number.
And this is where the theory finds its anchor in the text itself. There's a specific verse stating that God has enumerated all things, which is seen as a direct link, a hint that this theme of divine counting, represented by the number 9, is an intentional part of the design.
Okay, hang on, because this next part is maybe the most fascinating and complex piece of the entire formula. P1729. This isn't just another number. The source material calls it a pattern star, something that's meant to tie everything else together.
So what's the deal with 1729? Why this specific number? Well, it turns out, in the world of mathematics, this number is actually a bit of a celebrity. It has this famous nickname, a taxicab number, and what that means is it's the smallest whole number you can get by adding 2 cubed numbers in 2 totally different ways. This unique mathematical identity is absolutely key to its role in the formula.
And here's exactly how that works. Look at this. You can get to 1729 by cubing 1 and 12 and adding them up, or you can get the exact same number by cubing 9 and 10. That dual identity is what makes it such a powerful candidate for a pattern exemplar that can connect different ideas. Okay, so this is where it all comes together. The theory proposes that the actual digits of 1729, the 1, 7, 2, and 9, are not random at all. They're like a little map, pointing directly back to the key numbers in chapters we've already been talking about, like the 7 patterns and the 9 patterns. It's supposed to act like a master key.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, this feels a bit like finding patterns in the clouds, right? And that's a totally fair critique. The researchers' response to that is that the sheer consistency of these patterns, the way they keep recurring across the entire Quran, points more toward a deliberate structure than just random chance.
But this wasn't just about finding interesting patterns by hand. The researchers actually put this formula to the test,
with a computer algorithm to see if it really holds up.
They built this really clever algorithm to map the Quran's structure like a giant network. Every chapter and verse was a point or a node, and the algorithm's job was to draw a line, an edge, every single time it found a relationship defined by the formula.
And the results? What did the computer find? Get this. The algorithm identified about 5,200 distinct numerical connections based on the rules of the Quran formula. That is a massive web of mathematical relationships.
And this chart breaks it down even further for us. Out of those 5,200 connections, a solid 1,200 of them were specifically related to the number 7, and another 800 were related to the number 9. This suggests their importance in the structure isn't just a theory. It might actually be statistically significant.
So, we've looked at the theory, the key numbers, the data. But why does any of this matter? What's the big takeaway here? According to the sources? At the end of the day, what this theory is really proposing is that the Quran's structure is anything but accidental. It suggests there's a deliberate design where 7 creates a divine rhythm, 9 symbolizes completion, and that incredibly unique number, 1729, acts as a master key, locking all these patterns into one coherent blueprint.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty profound question. If a sacred text truly does contain this level of mathematical organization woven into its very fabric, what does that suggest about its origin and its author's design? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us today.